plan for a Boston rally should get them all arrested. Today, a free speech rally was held by libertarian and right-wing demonstrators. The organizers invited everyone to celebrate and explicitly condemn the Nazi Klan and anyone seeking violence. Then it happened. Police received reports of planned acid attacks by the alt-left to shut down the rally. A few demonstrators showed up to voice their support for the right for all Americans to freely voice their opinions with words, not violence. And this is a very tame version. They didn't show anything.
You can see this huge, massive crowd gathering behind me. These are actually members that would be identified as the counter-protesters, the people that came here to speak out against the Boston Free Speech Rally, against what they feel are the messages of hate. We see a lot of signs here against Nazis, against the KKK. We've seen anti-fascist groups walking through with signs saying they're anti-fascist, self-identifying as anti-fascist. Some people are wearing masks. This crowd is enormous. The much smaller crowd is the crowd that actually got the permit to hold the rally here today in the center of the Parkman Bandstand. This is a historic bandstand that has previously been used by the likes of major civil rights figures in the past. Today, the Boston Free Speech Rally is holding their rally there. As you can see, a much smaller presence surrounded by the counter-protesters. There's also a heavy police presence. You can see the police there on bicycles moving through. There are some 500 law enforcement officers across the city today in response to these two rallies in an effort to keep things peaceful here in the streets of Boston and here on the Common. Now, Steve Harrigan has been over at that counter-protest, the organized counter-protest that was slated to march from Roxbury to arrive here at the Common, and there was an effort put in place to keep these two groups apart. But as you can see, the only thing keeping them apart right now are these barricades set up. There's this huge swath of green grass, and the police there surrounding the Boston Free Speech Rally, and then the rest of the protesters, the counter-protest here surrounding and gathering here on the Common. Now, speaking with the organizers of the Free Speech Rally, they say they have absolutely nothing to do with white supremacy or the Nazis, and they're very concerned really with constitutional rights and free speech. They know that their speakers, their initial list of speakers was very controversial and did include at least one speaker that did speak at that Charlottesville rally, but that speaker will not be here today. Instead, there are other speakers that are anticipated to be here, people like Kyle Chapman. He became an internet meme, a viral sensation, for breaking a stick over the back or the head of an anti-Trump protester. So they do have very controversial speakers, which is why the city of Boston was so concerned, why the mayor and the governor chose to speak out against hate speech. They argue that today should be about unity in the city of Boston, and the hope is that today is a very peaceful day, and that's why this immense police presence. Looking at this huge crowd behind me, we have seen this crowd grow and grow and grow. And as you can see here, some of the police just moving through the crowd. There's also a tremendous amount of media from all over the world keeping an eye on this demonstration, on these counter demonstrations. We've seen people from Germany, media from Germany, as well as people from across the Commonwealth coming. This has really drawn a tremendous amount of response. The counter-protest was expected to gather 10, 20, up to 30,000 people. The Boston Free Speech Rally, they said, could bring hundreds perhaps, but they do have a limiting permit. So we'll see how big or small that crowd actually becomes. That rally is not slated to begin until noon, so there's still time for folks to gather there. Trish?
All right, let's hope it stays very peaceful. Thank you so much, Molly.
Then thousands of leftists marched in, easily 95% of them peacefully, but some were far more sinister. It was that other 5%, the Antifa anarchists who had hidden their weapons and masks and gear from sight to blend into the crowd who had other plans. Acid attacks are sick and destroy lives if the victim survives. They are terrorist tactics, and if they choose to use them, they should be treated as such. I just want to say that Antifa has declared that hate speech equals violence, so they justify fighting people who speak. To make it worse, any pro-Trump or pro-American speech is hate speech to them. because they are leftist anarchists, so they justify violence against anyone. The rally was scheduled for noon until 2 p.m., but was broken up after only a half hour by the organizer out of fear for his fellow free speech advocates. The Boston mayor certainly took sides. She made it very clear that she was on the side of Antifa before saying if any violence occurred from anyone, she would send police in to shut down the main event. To the credit of the Boston police, they did everything they could to protect the free speech folks. They actually escorted them instead of simply corralling them into a crowd of leftists like they did at the San Jose Trump rally in 2016. So, yeah, they didn't show any of the fighting which took place. But again, this is sick and it should be stopped. And do you see the mayor? Again, a Democratic mayor sticking up for Antifa. Who looks like terrorists? Who looks like the terrorists? The right or the alt-left, the Antifa crowd, wearing masks? They're threatening people. They have sticks with nails in them. I mean, it's totally disgraceful. That should be outlawed automatically. First of all, you can't walk in with those things. You shouldn't be allowed to walk in the area with those things in your hands. Absolutely. If they wanted to put a stop to this, they could in a heartbeat. Believe me, in a heartbeat. If the mayors wanted to shut this down, believe me. But they want this to take place by any means possible, so the right, the alt-right, has no voice whatsoever, and usually they are the more civil ones 90% of the time. I'll give them that much. Let me know